A census taker once tried to test me. Ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti, all while listening to the Nice Guys on Business.
Due to illness, the roles of the Nice Guys on Business today will be played by Pinky and the Brain. We apologize for the inconvenience.
So the proof of engagement is totally there. And the number one thing that I get when I talk to somebody is, oh yeah, it's all warm and fuzzy crap. And I'm sorry for that language.
You haven't been listening to our show.
Okay.
Don't listen to that guy. He's trying to lead you down the path of righteousness. I'm going to lead you down the path to the Nice Guys on Business podcast. Need an education on how to grow your business? The Nice Guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Welcome back, Funkin' fans. You made it to Friday.
Strickland.
Congratulations. Yeah.
I'm so pissed at you yesterday. God, I was so mad at you.
And I was mad at you, too.
So mad at you.
We've hugged and made up. It's all good.
We did. Episode 501 right here. But episode 500, oh my God, I just wanted to just kick you in the head.
For those of you who are amazed, yes, we have gotten to episode 501. You thought we might have just closed the whole goddamn thing after hearing that episode yesterday with us going at each other. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It was the other side of the Nice Guys, the not so nice side of the Nice Guys.
Yeah, we really need to take a closer look at the name of the show. When we first did this, we were the Nice Guys on Business. We decided to eliminate business, and now we're just the Nice Guys, but we actually never took it out of the title. And we really don't even feel like we're that nice any longer.
No, we're just guys. We're the guys.
The guys. How would iTunes appreciate it? Would they be what would our picture be of?
The guys.
It would just be you and me. It's like stick figures facing the third wall, the fourth wall.
Yeah, I like it. Facing the fourth wall. I like that. That's funny.
Oh, that would be a great name for a podcast.
The fourth wall?
Facing the fourth wall.
I wonder if it's been done already. We do have an interview today with Mr. Evan Hackel. He's got a book out. He's got free stuff he's giving away too. Engaging Leadership, not engaging with an E, like engaging leadership. 21 steps to elevate your business. You can get a free, you can download a study guide.
You're running so good. I'm just going to keep letting you go.
Okay. Link is in the show notes. It's ingage.net. And then you can get the free thing. And it's like really interesting stuff. It's all about elevating your business with engaging leadership.
Yeah. Can we just get right to the interview? It was that good.
Well, we do have a sponsor today, don't we?
Do we have to?
If we want to get paid, yeah.
Let's not get paid today. Let's just
we won't get paid today. We're going to do Overcast, recommend.
Yeah, let's let everybody we're just going to give them a pass. Let's give them a complete hall pass. Let's get right to the interview. How cool is it? Do you think that Joe Rogan ever says, you know what? I know I have all these sponsors, but we're just going to, let's just forget the sponsors today.
Okay.
Do you think he ever says that?
Evan is part of the C-Suite Book Club.
Okay. That's good.
Okay. No, you know what? We're not going to mention that you should recommend us on every individual episode of Overcast. We're not going to mention our sponsor. We're just going to get right to the interview with
I don't
Evan.
think that we should even spend just one moment more today talking about Interview Valet. Do you? I mean, do you think we should?
Evan Hackel.
Oh, we're just going to get just past it.
I thought that's what you wanted to try. That's what you're telling me you want to do, right?
Yeah, interviewvalet.com. We probably shouldn't talk about them at all.
Okay, so you're saying we shouldn't talk about Tom and his great team over at Interview Valet that can actually get you onto other podcasts to make you the expert in your industry?
No, we shouldn't. And we shouldn't mention their name as interviewvalet.com one more time. I think that would not be good. We're just messing with you guys, you funkin' fans. All right, let's get to the interview today. Is today Friday? Holy shit.
Friday.
How did we get to Friday already?
I just don't know.
God, it just seems like maybe like 120 hours ago we were right on Monday. Wow, it was right there. Gosh, okay, let's get to the interview with Evan Hackel right here on the Nice Guys on Business podcast. So we know relationships are everything, not just between companies and their customers, but internally within an organization as well. Well, Evan Hackel is CEO of Ingage Consulting and Tortle Training, not only an expert at communication, but he creates game-changing opportunities for companies by helping move attitudes that allow teams to really engage. So welcome, Evan, to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Doug, it's fantastic to be here. Looking forward to our conversation.
I'm happy to have you here. And Nice Guy community, just so you're aware as you're listening to this, what was so cool is now Evan and I had the interview set up, and that was probably about an hour ago. We've just spent the last hour just playing geography about all of the people that we know, and it is truly a world of connections. And so Evan, before I get started, I want to share a little bit of your journey with our Nice Guy community, because quite amazing the journey that you've been on and the skill set that you have. So can you share a little bit about what you do and who you are?
Yeah, I'm going to try to do this quickly because I know the questions are going to be interesting, but the first story I'll share with you is I went to work for my father after getting my MBA in a small family business. We did about $3 million a year and I joined the company full time pretty much in about 84. So 3 million, that is a little bit more now, but the company had 6 years of stagnation and we had not grown at all. And I said to my father, we need a business plan. And at the time, this is a term you don't hear much, I had studied a lot about Japanese techniques. And the way in which the Japanese were able to kill the auto industry is they listened to their line workers. So they were paying attention to the actual people doing the actual work. So I said to my father, we should build a strategic plan with the employees of the company. And we had 5 different divisions. And so with each division, we did a dinner night, we did flip charts, and we had these great discussions about how we could improve the business. And we grew the business from 3 million to 5 million to 10 million to 25 million. So just astronomical growth, totally contributable not only to the fact that we got great ideas from the employees, but something else happened, and this was probably the key learning, was there was ownership, meaning that the employees had bought into the plan. We shared the plan with them when they were done. They were part of making the plan. So there were a lot of things, and if we had tons of time, I could share it with you, where under a normal circumstance, the employees might have objected and said, no, that's too bold, that's too hard. But because they were their ideas and they had supported them, they were into doing it. Similarly, I went to work for a company called CCA Global Partners in 1989. And the company, I was the 5th employee. I started everything. I was in charge of strategic planning, new business development. And we grew that company from basically nothing to $10 billion in system-wide sales in 20 years, with a growth rate of 29%. There are not very many companies that did that.
Yeah.
And we really did it around this idea of engaging people. Now, these companies were primarily co-ops and franchises. And so what you learn in business is that if an employee works for you, they're going to do whatever you ask because they're fearful of being fired, or they'll find another job and leave. In franchising co-ops, these members have obligations to do things, but they're not the clear directives to do things. And the way you win people's hearts, minds, and souls is by actually listening to them and incorporating their ideas. And this whole idea of everyone having a sense of ownership was huge. And that's why we had such growth.
Well, share for a second, and I apologize for interrupting, but it seems like the common thread between the things that you're sharing so far is talking about building a positive culture and building a community among engaged employees or engaged stakeholders in an organization. Is that kind of the premise by which your business philosophies have grown?
The work in my family business, a lot of the work in the businesses that I own now are all about employee engagement. Employee engagement is huge. At CCA, we had a combination of really strong employee engagement and really strong, in essence, customer engagement, because the franchisees and the co-op members were, in essence, customers of the organization. And interestingly, in the work I've done, since I've been gone for about 8 years, Total Training is a very substantial training company, the largest training company in franchising. Ingage Consulting is one of the premier consulting companies in franchising. We conducted with a company called Franchise Business Review a survey of 24,000 franchisees. And we worked on a methodology with a company called Liminality who are very serious research people, to identify key characteristics of engagement, kind of like Gallup does with employees of franchisees. And we took the group of 24,000 franchisees and we quartiled them. So the top quarter versus the bottom quarter. And one of the questions were, how would you rate your profitability? And looking at the level of people that would say their profitability was strong or very strong, 79.4% of the top quartile would define their profitability as strong or very strong, which is excellent, compared to 19.6% or so that define their level, their profitability as strong versus very strong. So what this research did, and by the way, validated it by doing it and repeating it 3 times with almost identical numbers, showed that if the franchisee was actively involved and actively participating, that there was a 4 times greater likelihood that they were going to have strong or very strong profits. Gallup, who are the leaders on employee engagement, did a look at the top Fortune 500 companies, surveyed their employees with almost identical results. There's an 3.8 times greater increase in profitability for companies with the top quartile of engagement versus bottom. So the proof of of engagement is totally there. And the number one thing that I get when I talk to somebody is, oh yeah, it's all warm and fuzzy crap. And I'm sorry for that language.
You haven't been listening to our show.
Okay. But that it's all warm and fuzzy, but I don't really believe there's an ROI. Well, we know employee engagement, that the growth in profitability is 3.8 times faster, top quartile versus bottom quartile in Fortune 500. And we know that there's it's actually exactly 3.8 times greater likelihood of presenting strong and very strong, which is a little different way of looking at it for a franchisee who's engaged. So,
okay. Well, hold on a second though. And just again, I apologize for interrupting, but here's what's happening. You got half of our listeners right now that are listening to this and saying, man, this is amazing. I'm totally tied into these numbers. And you have the other half saying, I think I got to tune out. I've just lost everything with these numbers. I want to make a connection really clear, Evan. And this is so critical in making sure that we're totally on board with you. Tie employee engagement and the information that you're giving me into making a company more money. Cause right now I'm dangling and I'm like, okay, well, let's put this together. Just help me understand why it is that does this make me more money when my employees are engaged? What's it mean?
Okay. So I want to just share what we do in our company because, this is, a show called Nice Guys and we're nice guys. And I want to talk about what we do.
Okay.
Because I think it's important. One, we involve our employees in the strategic and tactical planning of the company. In fact, next week I am flying to Charlotte to have a meeting and we invite every single employee to come. It's a big investment. Because what you probably don't know about our company is we're a virtual company. So we have employees in Ecuador. We have employees, in 4 or 5 different states. We got an employee in Canada and outside of Toronto. So we fly everybody in and it doesn't matter what role you have. You're participating in the meeting and generally speaking, there are parts of the meeting you're presenting in. That is one aspect, meaning we're asking their opinion. And the ideas that flow from that meeting are different than if the meeting was just of senior executives. Mm-hmm. So senior executives suffer from a thing I call high-level dumb. And high-level dumb means that you're talking just to other senior-level people and you're talking to just senior-level people at other companies and you're missing the front line. You're missing the people that are really doing the work. And those people have actionable ideas that make companies more successful. Last year, my company grew 37%. This year, we're slated to go 40%. And, I've always lived in my entire career in companies, as I told you, CCA grew 29% a year for 20 years in a row, where we're always growing. And the reason we're always growing is because of these ideas. The second part, and this is important, is that when you present the plan that they helped build, no one's going, ha, 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 management's lost their minds. everyone's going, we did this together. We're now team and we're all going to work together to execute because we all believe. And that is an important part. But engagement for us and quote, being nice goes far beyond, because those are kind of the measurable things, great ideas, greater support. But there's another key aspect in business, which is called retention, and it's called loyalty. So high retention is obvious. It costs a fortune to replace new employees. Lost institutional knowledge is massive. The hiring process, the advertising, recruiting, the training process is massive. And, I have a company that, we on average lose an employee every 2 years. And we have very low turnover. And so I'll just share some of the things that we do that I think are unique.
All right, before you do though, I want to come back to this question. You've got to make the connection for me though. You have to tie employee engagement with you've given me now, you've made 29% or whatever it is that you said more money every year as a result of this. And you're telling me that your employees are thoroughly engaged and they take ownership in the process. Tie those two things together for me.
I'm going to give an example from when I first started, because this example is so powerful, and I can give you more.
Wonderful.
So one of the divisions of our family company was an electrical supply wholesale business. We did $1 million a year in that business. Bring all the employees together, do a traditional SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Very clear from the employees, which by the way, wasn't clear to me, was we were overpriced. Now our margins at the time were 22%. Industry average was 18%. So employees saying, look, people are shopping, they call around, and there's certain key things, and our prices are high. So somebody else said, why don't we lower our prices just on those key things? This isn't me, this is employees. And then we can be price competitive. And then somebody else says, you know what? All this other stuff people don't pay attention to. They come in looking for breakers and looking for wire, but then they're starting to buy light fixtures and all these other things where they're not nearly as price competitive. Let's raise our price on those things. Now today, this term matrix pricing is very common. Back then it was not common. So what we took from this idea was, we're going to lower our prices to 16% on the things people shop on. We're going to raise our margins to 40% on the things people don't shop on. Net result, we went from $1 million to $2.6 million in 2 years, and we raised our margin from 22% to 26% because of this idea. This idea came from employees. They did not come from management. And here's the other thing. If let's say management had figured this all out without them, hired a consulting company, whatever, and then we went to the employees and said, hey, we're going to change all these prices, and, we're raising some and lowering some, we would have had resistance. No one would have resisted lowering, but they all would have resisted the raising part. And because the ideas came from their fellow workers and they were part of the process, there was no resistance.
Right.
There was enthusiastic adoption to the process. So, I hope anyone could see that if we went from 1 million to 2.6 million and we went from 22% to 26%, the profitability was massively increased.
So a question for you is improving culture just a matter of asking questions to your employees and getting answers from them that will help, kind of steer the ship? Or is there something that it goes beyond that with defining and dividing and determining what culture is going to be?
It goes way, 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 way beyond it. What I described is a simple process. First off, culture eats strategy. Culture is everything in a company. So I talk a lot about this in the book, but I just got done a management meeting, and, we normally spend 10 or 15 minutes with our mission, vision, purpose statement, our values, and then we have like a couple paragraphs that describe the heart of the company. And we start our management meeting, and the responsibility at the start of the meeting is for everyone to share an example of how we actually live these things. And we normally do it pretty laser, 10 minutes. Today, it took us a half hour because we had a lot of stuff to talk about. It was actually pretty inspiring. Every employee of the company, when we have our monthly all employee, all hands meeting, rotates where they share in their own words the company's vision and how the company impacts them. These things impact them on their job. So we don't write mission, vision, purpose statements and values and then put them up on a wall. We really incorporate them in someone's reviews. The first question is, in your own words, what's the vision of the company? Second question is, how do you help the company achieve it? So, and we share when we hire people their review form at the beginning so they know what to expect.
Yeah.
Every new hire prior to being hired is reviewed what our mission, vision, values are, and we hire and evaluate to make sure that they match those things and people understand how important they are. So that is key. We will never hire, and this is a big part of the book, but we will never ever hire anybody that is not an extremely positive person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I will tell you right now, we are looking for some IT people, and we've been looking for 8 months because the people that we have found are highly proficient. The guy heading IT says, this guy's going to be a workhorse, but he's not going to be very talkative, whatever. Like, no, we only hire positive people because people like working with positive people. That's a big reason why we don't have transparency. I got several other things, but ask me a question and I'll get into them because they're game changing.
Well, I just want to chat for a moment or two because we're running out of time, but I do want to spend just a moment or two talking about engaging leadership because I know that your company and your journey has been a huge part of you putting the book together. So can you just spend a moment just talking about what motivated you to put pen to ink or pen to paper and make that happen?
I felt I had something different to say. And there are a lot of books on engagement. This book actually gives 21 very clear ideas of things that you can do. It challenges how people think. It challenges how people communicate. We talk a lot about the importance of listening to the kernel of truth and why the other person you're talking to is right versus wrong. We talk about distinguishing between fact and opinion because when people talk about an opinion like it's fact, it's hard to have a discussion because almost like you're calling them a leader. We talk about a principle I call 5 to 1, which is 5 positive things to 1 constructive thing, because if all you're doing is giving people constructive advice and you're not catching them doing things right, they don't respect you.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be constantly looking for thanking and appreciating people. This isn't like you say 5 things nice immediately and then immediately give them constructive because, a lot of people like to do that. And there's some literature out there where, start with a compliment, give them advice, end with a compliment. And, that's a sandwich and it hides the actual need because sometimes people don't hear that clearly. So you catch people doing things right. But when you have an issue, you talk about the issue. You don't. And they trust because they know that you care and you paid attention. Because when someone catches you doing things right, you don't sit there and think their whole job is to find out why you're doing things wrong. They listen to you. They listen to you differently.
So it sounds like you have a leadership guide as a part of that book, and you're offering that as a gift to our community.
Yes, I do. If you go to my website, ingage.net, and spelled with an I for involvement. So it's ingage.net, and you'll see my book. And there's a button that says learn more. If you click on that, you can actually watch a video of my book, explaining it. But there's a leader's guide. And the funny thing about the leader's guide is you don't actually need the book. Now, I would like everyone to buy the book. There's a button to buy the book. It's in audio, it's in Kindle and hard copy. But you don't need the leader's guide. You only need the leader's guide to actually affect major change in your organization. And the leader's guide presents you with questions and things and activities to do within your company to create greater engagement. And I offer that as a free gift. And I would encourage people to go and download it. And if that inspires them, then maybe the book will inspire them too.
We and our community, I'm sure, appreciates the leadership guide as well. Thanks, Evan. And if you were to have to pull together the perfect company, organization, or leadership style that would be most inclined to listen, to work, to move towards this type of leadership and programming, is there a specific type of person that you think would work out well for this? Is it a small company that has a handful of employees? Is this large company? It sounds like it's worked all over the place.
Well, look at one of the businesses I managed at CCA, because I managed $5 billion. I managed half the company and 70% of the profit. We had over 30,000 employees in the whole program, and it worked amazingly well. You do different things, right? You don't hold a meeting with 30,000 people to do strategic and tactical planning. But what you can do is you can ask them for ideas and you can ask them for suggestions. You can create small mini meetings where you bring people together to share those ideas and questions. You can do surveys of people to get input, and then you have it ladder up. So you absolutely can involve 30,000 people. You can involve small people. If I was to say there are different styles of leadership, and at different times, different styles of leadership are, important. If I had a company that was in crises, and our literal survival was involved in it, you probably want to be more authoritarian. You want to be much more disciplined because every step is so important. But if you have a company and you want to grow that company, you want to harness the ideas, you want to harness the heart and soul and mind. And the one thing that I want to say, because I think people misinterpret this a lot by what I say and I do, is honesty is a great gift. And one of the things that companies sometimes think is, well, people that believe engagement in this, they just want to be nice, they just want to placate, etc. But the key to success in business is to have those honest conversations when people aren't performing or when people aren't landing well by how they communicate with others. And if people are engaged and they're trusted and you're applying this 5-to-1 rule, a positive to negative, you can have those meaningful, hard, honest conversations. And lots of companies never have those conversations. They just ignore them. Mm. And if you want to have a great company, you have to constantly be investing in your staff and being honest with them. And I know we got no time, but I want to share two really quick things because I think they're really cool. And, it's certainly something nice guys do, but I think it makes a difference.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. One is we give every employee in the company a $2,000 a year budget for training. Now we have a training company, but it's not our training. They can pick any training they want. If they want to go to a conference that they're going to learn on, if they want to go to some kind of workshop, whatever training they want to do, they have $2,000 and they choose it. It has to be business related, but they don't have to ask for approval. Mm-hmm. If they want to spend more, and they do at times, we will 99% of the time approve it. People want to grow. People want to learn on the job. This allows them to do it. The second thing we do, and this is somewhat based on Steve Covey's SAW method, is our creative people in our training side. We have people that are very creative in what they do in creating e-learning, because e-learning has to be interactive. It has to be, gamified.
Yep.
We give every 2 months, we give these creative people 8 hours of paid time to do anything they want in the realm of the space of e-learning. And then we have a company meeting and they all present the fun things they worked on. It's kind of modeled after a cousin of mine worked at Xerox in their Idea Lab, where for 1 year they worked on anything they wanted and they reported every year for a day on what they did. But, this is kind of a mini version of that, but it allows our employees to get beyond their normal box of what they do. So they're not like looking at what they do as production. that they're able to play and innovate, and they bring these ideas and bring these innovations into the company, which helps everyone be more innovative. Innovation is one of our big things, and they feel valued. And companies, I don't know of companies that sit back and say, you know what, we're going to actually invest in letting people go do something that's totally experimental, totally their choice. No one has to get approval on how they spend their 8 hours. It's just got to be in the realm of training, of any form of training, to bring new ideas to the company. And I think both of these things make the employees realize how much the company's investing in them. And there's tons of research, particularly on millennials, that the number one most important thing in a job is they're learning and growing in that space. And even the non-creative employees that are not getting that 8 hours, they're watching the presentation, so they're all learning too. So those are kind of two things that, really distinguish our company that have had, I think, very massive impact on us, and why our turnover rate is unbelievably low. I mean, people leave because they're moving to Italy. I mean, it's not. I mean, we really have an amazing group of team.
Well, Evan's book is called Engaging Leadership. We'll make sure that we put a link in the show notes so that you have access to not only his website, but to the book as well, and to the free gift, the Leadership Guide as well. Evan Hackel, thank you so much for sharing your message. Your leadership style definitely is extremely unique. And I think, it's interesting. I get lost sometimes in the numbers, and it's almost like I'm a, I don't care about the pain, just show me the baby kind of guy. And then every once in a while, somebody comes on, might not necessarily be the exact approach that I'm going to take to leadership, but I absolutely, without a doubt, can see how this leadership style of building culture, engagement, obviously being nice through your actions with your employees. I can see totally how that could be a way to build an organization. And you certainly have built many successful ones along the way using the strategies that you have in place. So well done, Evan. And again, thanks for being on the show today.
Terrific, being on the show. Thank you for the great questions.
My pleasure.
I like the fact you take me to task, and because sometimes I like fact-based information, and because a lot of times people give ideas and they have like literally no proof that they work. No, this is documented.
Totally get it. I love it. And there's no doubt that you probably have, as Strick and I, my co-host and I have oftentimes discussed it. There's definitely different types of not just management styles and leadership styles, but learning styles as well. And you're probably the guy that would, grasp a book by Jim Collins, like Good to Great, and just completely, right, exactly, and just love it. And I'm the guy that's the, where's the Who Moved My Cheese or Tuesdays with Maury? Where are those books? Those are my thing, but I totally can see it. And I appreciate, you being as straightforward and as detailed as you are. And, for me, it is really just about making sure that we're providing valuable content to our audience. I don't have to believe and understand and follow everything that everybody does, but absolutely this works. Nice Guy community. You can tell that Evan is extremely excited and engaged and enthusiastic about the way that he presents. And that is definitely going to come through on the pages of his book. So make sure you take a moment, head over to his website and check out his book. Again, Evan, thank you for your time today.
You are very welcome, and I look forward to getting to know you better after the call, after this meeting. So.
Awesome. I feel the same, Evan. And Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice or the power of engaging leadership. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. They have listeners in other countries? I didn't think anyone was listening outside of their house, except maybe their moms.